Now we're going to be having a presentation by Pat Taylor from Cornerstones Community Partnerships. Pat is, what can I say about Pat? Pat has been literally all over the world, but has really been focused on New Mexico and has really been one of the cornerstones of Cornerstones in making it successful. Pat Taylor es un coordinador de proyectos en la organización de Cornerstones, que está basado en Santa Fe, Nuevo México, y es uno de los mayores personas en esta organización por su experiencia en Adobe, pero ha estado en muchas partes del mundo, pero está basado en Nuevo México haciendo proyectos en su misma. Pat Taylor.
Just to begin with, I wanted to thank University of Arizona and Missions Initiative for making this possible. This is continuing, how many years, David, Antonio, Lalo? 14, 15 years of these TCRAT workshops that makes this exchange between all of us very, very, very important.
Agradecer desde luego a la Universidad de Arizona y la iniciativa de las misiones por continuar con este esfuerzo que ya lleva 14, 15 años en este programa, ¿no? De TCRAT.
And I believe we started in Casas Grandes in '94, National Park Service, INA, and Cornerstones, and other collaborating agencies.
Y si recuerda bien, se empezó en Casas Grandes, en Chihuahua, con el INA, con la gente de Cornerstones.
And personally, I can't do the work that we do now without the past help that we receive from INA and the National Park Service, so it's a real true collaboration.
Y en realidad ya él no podría hacer el trabajo que hace ahora sin esta colaboración que desde entonces recibió tanto del INA como del National Park Service, que sería el Servicio de Parques Nacionales.
Cornerstones has been around for about 22 years, and it's a nonprofit that works with communities to restore historic structures.
Y es una organización, la de Cornerstones, no gubernamental, sin fines de lucro, y lleva alrededor de 20 años trabajando en cuestiones de preservación.
And even though I've been with them 18 years, I fortunately haven't had to travel all over the world, so I like this area the best.
No, y a pesar de todo, se ha concentrado sobre todo en esta área, que es la que le gusta más.
This is a project we finished a couple years ago, a very long-term project, Socorro Mission, and it's just an example of one of the many projects Cornerstones does working with communities.
Es un proyecto que acaban de terminar hace un par de años. Es un ejemplo de lo que hace justamente esta organización de Cornerstones con las comunidades.
Socorro was founded after the Pueblo Revolt of 1680.
Fundado en 1680 después de la revuelta de los Pueblo, los indios Pueblo.
The Piro Indians had settled it along with several Spanish families.
Y lo habían colonizado, digamos, con varias familias españolas.
And it's located very close to El Paso, Juárez.
Está muy cerca del Paso.
And this is the third mission in this place. The mission was originally lost to a flood in 1740 and then rebuilt, and then lost in another second flood in 1828 and rebuilt in 1839 as to what we see now.
Entonces ya es en realidad la tercera misión. Se perdió 2 veces por cuestiones de inundación. La última en 1928, esta ya corresponde a 1939, me parece.
It has a great history, and part of that is the evolution of the structure itself. It started off as a single nave. Transepts were added, sacristies were added.
Tiene una historia muy interesante. De hecho, se fue transformando y empezó justamente con una nave.
The vigas and the corveles in the mission are probably the most interesting feature because they were salvaged from preceding missions and are from the original mission that was finished in 1691.
Y entonces una de las cosas más interesantes son todas estas partes de las vigas que fueron reutilizadas y salvadas en cada una de estas destrucciones que se dieron para usar en la siguiente.
And in working with the community, we had to figure out not only the conditions assessment of the building, but the conditions assessment of the community to figure out how how the organizational structure was going to happen and how we were going to pay for it.
Y bueno, una de sus preocupaciones para el proyecto era no solo entender la estructura material de la misión, sino la estructura de la propia comunidad para saber cómo iban a financiar y desarrollar el proyecto.
And it's right on the Camino Real, so it's a very important place on the Camino Real at that time.
Y estaba en el Camino Real, era uno de los puntos importantes del mismo.
And in case you're lost, this is the map to find it.
En caso de que no sepan bien, aquí está el mapa.
And this is the earliest known photo we have, probably between 1860 and 1872. We know the chronological change that had happened just after this.
Esta es la foto más antigua que tienen, probablemente entre 1860 y 1872.
And this is either the first or the second coat of lime that we saw in that previous picture. And this picture is the 1872 with the parapets changed and the transepts added.
Esta es una foto ya de 1872, donde ya los transeptos y estas cosas han cambiado.
And the second application of lime plaster.
Y la segunda aplicación de aplanados de cal.
What happened in the early part of the 1900s, was the addition of the cement products, cement plaster, concrete collars, inside and out, slowly, effectively drowning the building.
Entonces lo que pasó es que sobre todo a principios del siglo XX empezaron, bueno, con todos estos productos del cemento empezaron de alguna manera a retener la humedad y estas cosas en la estructura.
And as Jim had pointed out in his presentation, you know, the water's trapped within the walls are the adobe sucking up the moisture, and it's literally blowing out just above the concrete collar.
Y bueno, como ya había apuntado Jim en su presentación, estos materiales mantienen el muro húmedo y bueno, está de alguna manera saliendo por la parte de arriba.
We had several different training programs utilizing different opportunities. Some came to us for free, but one of the things that we had to do was constantly make adobes, so we always kept a stockpile of about 2,000 dry adobes. When we got below that mark, we made more adobes.
Entonces, bueno, una de las cosas importantes de su programa es que mantuvieron, digamos, una cierta constancia en la elaboración de adobes. Más o menos tenían que tener un stock de 2,000 piezas.
We also shored up the ceiling on the inside so we could do the basal stabilization both inside and out, make sure the roof stayed up.
Tuvieron que apuntalar efectivamente la estructura para poder hacer el trabajo.
It wasn't entirely necessary, but there was some concern by the engineers. So
No era totalmente necesario, pero bueno, los ingenieros prefirieron
and
apuntalar.
that kind of shoring was very heavy duty. We usually used scaffold shoring that had the heads and you could carry the timbers on, but this shoring was a little bit heavier.
Sí, que normalmente el apuntalamiento puede ser un poco más ligero, pero aquí se hizo un apuntalamiento realmente más pesado, pues.
And
¿no?
the next photos we're going to see, the next slides we're going to see, or PowerPoint, or whatever they're called these days, are the concrete collars, where we've taken out the concrete collars, and the concrete collars were huge. They were, the walls are 5 foot thick.
Entonces, bueno, el trabajo que se va a ver ahora va a ser cómo ellos sacaron de alguna manera estas cadenas de concreto y el trabajo que hicieron para sustituirlas eran hasta de 5 pies de ancho.
The walls are 5 foot thick. The collars are 2 feet wide and about 3 feet deep.
Okay. Entonces son 5 pies, es como 1,5 metros más o menos de ancho y las cadenas tenían 2 pies, es decir, unos 60 centímetros de ancho por unos 3 de alto.
Sí,
About 90 centimeters.
And they're like contracimientos, contrapaderes, as we refer to them over here.
Y entonces especie de contratraves que tenían, ¿no?
And what we did was we removed in 3 foot, 4 foot sections these collars, these pieces, and then we replaced them with adobe.
Entonces iban cortando por secciones de 1 metro aproximadamente y los iban sustituyendo por cemento. Digo, por adobe, perdón.
So what we did was we literally followed the work, stabilizing the walls with adobe.
Entonces, bueno, fueron haciendo estos tramos, iban estabilizando el muro con adobe.
So you can see how it comes up, comes down. And then as we're laying the adobe, in the previous picture, you see how we had left the cement plaster on. And we only left the cement plaster on just to hold the adobes in place while we laid the adobes. And then as we got higher, then we cut another piece of cement plaster off and we put our boards in to support that, trying not to lose these adobes.
Ok, entonces, bueno, hicieron ahí un trabajo, por ejemplo, de dejar al principio el aplanado que les ayudaba de alguna manera a mantener el adobe en su lugar. Apuntalaban, digamos, la parte superior del adobe para abrir esta caja, porque la idea era también preservar la mayor cantidad de adobe original.
And when we started this, we started one section first. We left all the concrete on. One section, replaced it, skipped over, did another section, replaced it, skipped over, did another section, and then tied them together.
Entonces lo que fueron haciendo es que habrían secciones salteadas, vamos a llamarle así, primero en un extremo, luego cambiaban y al final ya amarraron todo junto.
And the whole idea was to keep the wall up and support it and just replace it in sections, tying it together so effectively when you're finished, you have a structural wall that's all adobe, that's all tied together.
Hicieron el trabajo justamente sobre todo de este amarre continuo con la idea de que al final se tuviera un muro continuo, estructuralmente continuo y bien amarrado.
And you can see in this photo we still have the concrete, and we're doing the adobe.
Aquí se puede ver cómo se ve el concreto y la otra parte del concreto y donde entra el adobe.
And then as we come up, you know, our 2x4s to apuntalar the wall, we lay the adobes up and then we put these wedges, these cuñas inside.
Entonces, digamos, que usaban, abrían caja y ponían sus polines y también ponían estas cuñas.
And the whole idea with the 2x4s and the cuñas is to keep everything supported during the drying process.
Y sobre todo esto tiene la idea de soportar durante el proceso de secado.
And the reason being is this area, we don't want to lose original fabric, and we want this area to not completely, but dry very, very well before we finish that work.
Entonces, la idea era preservar la mayor cantidad de adobe original y la idea es que la parte nueva se secara completamente o lo mejor posible.
And then when this is dry, then we put lodo seco, a dry mix of mud inside there, and then take the wedges out one by one.
Entonces ya una vez que seca, digamos, el muro de adobe repuesto, le ponían una especie de lodo seco y ya quitaban las cuñas.
And as Jeremy had accurately pointed out, documentation's everything, photos during, before and after, or before, during, and after. And then with the archaeologist, we had the benefit of several different organizations helping us do the archaeology.
Y bueno, como ya les señalaba Jeremy, la cuestión del registro es todo. Hay que hacerlo antes, durante y después. Y tuvieron el apoyo de algunas organizaciones de arqueólogos.
One of the other things that we utilized heavily was US ICOMOS. If you're not familiar with ICOMOS, International Council of Monuments and Sites, they have a great internship program with these young archaeologists and architects who come, who we're fortunate to be able to have come on sites and do work with us.
Y bueno, también trabajaron precisamente con ICOMOS de Estados Unidos, que bueno, conocemos.
And then we also got a local school involved in making the adobe, so we try to pull the community in every way we can. This is in the morning, and they're still smiling. At the end of the day, it's a little different picture.
Y también tuvieron la ayuda de una comunidad, de una escuela de la comunidad local para hacer los adobes.
And with this particular school, we also had a program of training, so we would bring the young people in to train. They would work with us in the morning and they do their schoolwork in the afternoon.
Y sobre todo se trata de capacitar justamente a estas personas de la escuela y tuvieron un programa de capacitación específico para los más jóvenes.
This is a feature within the nave where there was an ascending stairwell to a pulpit that was hidden, and it was located right in the corner of where the nave and the transept was that had caused a structural collapse.
Aparentemente aquí había una escalera que llegaba a un púlpito, ¿no? Que estaba justamente entre, digamos, entre la nave y el altar o el transepto y que, bueno, causó esta destrucción.
There was a lot of documentation done before we removed that material.
Por supuesto se hizo mucha documentación antes de remover ese material.
One of the things we did we had the basal, Adobe basal stabilization, we had the wall stabilization, and as we moved up the wall, we inserted a wood bond beam underneath the vigas and the corveles. Arrastre.
Como una raza. Ok, so cuando hicieron toda esta intervención, colocaron un arrastre justamente para repartir mejor la carga.
And the wall stabilization was very similar to the base, where we temporarily support the adobes as we're doing the work.
Y fue muy similar a lo que se hizo en la otra parte del muro, es decir, apuntalar provisionalmente durante el proceso.
And then we do the same thing where we put the lodo seco underneath. The corvel is gone right here, so you're able to see that picture.
Bueno, aquí se alcanza a ver otra vez este uso del lodo seco para retacar bien la junta antes de poner a trabajar las zapatas.
This is the adobe in the base that we had already replaced, and this is a section of the wall just above it.
Y bueno, un poco ahí al fondo el rajueleado que se colocó y la parte de abajo que se veía era el adobe que ya habían repuesto.
You can see that picture a little different. One of the things we didn't want to do was we didn't want to trench into the old material. This is a new material, so we're able to trench in. With the old material, we just used the joints in between the adobes.
Okay. No quisieron, digamos, vaciar la junta, hicieron digamos, rajueleado de la junta, pero básicamente usando los huecos que había, ¿no?
Yeah. And then also we used a different technique with the rajuelar, where on the older part of the mission walls, it was very friable, and we were afraid that we're going to lose too much material. So we were even hesitant to put the stones in the head joints. So what we did was we put consolidating coats of mud plaster, and then we put the stones in the mud plaster.
Sí, como una especie variante de la técnica del rajueleado, en realidad tenían un poco de temor de cómo intervenir esta parte. Lo que decidieron fue hacer una capa de aplanado y pusieron estas piedras en estas capas.
In every project we learned something, and it's really important to kind of figure out these little lessons along the way. But we had done all our basal stabilization.
Siempre se aprende algo en el proceso. Ya habían hecho toda la estabilización de la base.
Okay. And then as we finished our work, I'm kind of out of sequence with my slides. As we finished our work, we had the front facade with still all the cement on it.
Conforme iban terminando el trabajo, tenían todavía la fachada principal con todo el cemento encima de ella.
What happened on the front facade is the front facade started moving.
Entonces empezó a mover la fachada principal.
So we documented it. We stopped the work. We took the cement plaster off in sections, stabilized the wall, put lime plaster, and then the movement stopped and actually went back to where it was before.
Entonces detuvieron un poco el trabajo, quitaron justamente el aplanado de cemento, estabilizaron el muro y el muro regresó, digamos, a su posición.
The last couple of slides in this one here just show the different coats of the lime plaster using the traditional method that's particular to Chihuahua and New Mexico and the northern.
Y bueno, estas últimas diapositivas básicamente muestran el uso de los aplanados de cal tradicionales, ¿no?, que se usan en esta parte norte de México.
And we had mentioned earlier the zapatas are from the original 1691 church, and they have the pigmentation from the Piro Indians who settled there, so they're very important.
Bueno, aquí un poco la foto de las zapatas, recordar que son las zapatas originales del templo de 1681 y que fueron reutilizadas cada vez que se reconstruía el templo.
This is a splice that was done 25 years before that had already deteriorated, and the corbel used to be this long. So that's moisture damage in 25 years.
Bueno, esta es una de las zapatas. Se hizo una evaluación de la condición de cada una de las piezas que intervinieron y aquí se alcanza a ver ya el daño que tuvo en 25 años por la humedad.
So we would do the assessment, we would document it, and then we'd either do the consolidation or we would do a splicing.
Y entonces, bueno, hacían la documentación, el registro y hacían una consolidación o en su momento un injerto.
Okay, and this is a splicing part. And the next photo will show the doweling.
Ok, entonces aquí le van a hacer un injerto para salvar la parte.
Fiberglass rods and epoxy.
Ok, es epóxico y son fibras, varillas de fibra de vidrio.
Okay. and then a final documentation before we put it together.
y la documentación final antes de ensamblarla.
Okay. And this is a different part. There was 10 vigas, 7 of them were past the damage. So this shows the application. We would put clay around it. The epoxy wouldn't leak out.
Okay. 7 de las 10 vigas tuvieron que ser intervenidas así. Aquí le ponían lodo alrededor, arcilla alrededor para que el epoxi no se escurriera.
In the main nave, we probably had about 25% damage of the vigas and mostly of the corveles, because the vigas were actually the vigas didn't go into the wall all the way, but the corveles, the zapatas went all the way.
En la nave principal tenían más o menos un 25% de daño en las vigas, más en las zapatas que las vigas mismas, porque las vigas no entraban totalmente al muro, las zapatas sí.
And you can see the part where we've already lime plastered and done the stabilization, and I got ahead of myself on my slides, but you can see we're taking off. We just finished taking off the cement plaster and we're starting the stabilization.
Bueno, un poco regresando a esta fotografía que estaba fuera de lugar, pero ya se hizo la estabilización de los laterales y aquí es el proceso de quitar justamente el aplanado de cemento de la fachada principal.
And we also had challenges with the scaffolding because we couldn't attach it to the wall. We had to support it, so it's self-supporting. So the scaffolding is up about 50 feet.
Bueno, entonces un poco el andamiaje, ¿andamiaje? Scaffolding.
Andamios.
El andamiaje, digamos, tuvo que ser totalmente independiente y bueno, se subió hasta 50 pies arriba de la fachada.
This is earlier in the project, but this is an example of one of 4 different training groups we have.
Ese es uno de los grupos que capacitaron, de los 4 que hicieron eso.
And then we also had the community involved. We had a local judge who heard juvenile cases. So every Saturday these kids would show up with missing their cartoons.
Tuvieron ahí la participación de un juez y bueno, varios jóvenes aparecían los sábados para hacer el trabajo allí con la comunidad.
And these volunteer days we made adobes.
Y en estos días de voluntarios hacían adobes.
Okay. Another training program.
Otro programa de capacitación.
And then we also had an electrical class through the community college, do all the electrical for free for us.
Y también tuvieron la participación de una licenciatura de electricistas que les hicieron toda la instalación gratis.
One of our ongoing relationships with Mexico's INA was to be able to get some maestro albañiles from Casas Grandes, Lalo, the Rodriguez's. González.
Algunos maestros de Casas Grandes que hay en colaboración con el INA que participaron.
Maestros.
El maestro.
Some of our first money, you look at a project, you think, how can we pay for this? So the money came from everywhere, and we had 2 major funding interruptions. A 3-year project turned into a 5-year project,
Bueno, no siempre se sabe de dónde sale todo el dinero fue llegando, pero un proyecto que originalmente estaba programado para 3 años se hizo de 5 por estas interrupciones que a veces hay.
Here's some finished shots, and then we'll quickly go through the pigmentation workshop we did with the vigas.
Y bueno, aquí varias fotografías y luego va a comentar sobre la cuestión de pigmentación y de colores que usaron.
That's the choir, the room to the choir loft.
Es digamos, el cuarto del coro para subir al coro.
And talk about documentation, we found through oral histories, a couple of older people had said that their grandparents told them the story of their parents telling the story of a staircase in what they called the mortuary room. That was a mortuary room, but they said there was an adobe staircase in there. And in the 1870s, sorry to make this long, in the 1870s they had taken out that adobe staircase and they put a wood staircase in right underneath the choir loft. So no one had this in their memory except for these stories. So we went through and the archaeologists found the evidence of the adobe staircase and we reintroduced it, and the community chose to remove the 1870 wood staircase.
Okay. Bueno, hablando justamente de documentación, a través de la historia oral, algunas gentes mayores de la comunidad, sus papás les habían dicho que a su vez sus padres les habían comentado que hubo en un momento dado una escalera de adobe y no de madera. Entonces, con la comunidad decidieron retirar la escalera de 1870 y colocaron la escalera de adobe.
They had a landscaping plan, and thank God they didn't have the money to do it, because I think they would have fouled it up.
Y
It
bueno,
was
tenían un
kinda-
proyecto de paisajismo y dice que qué bueno que no tuvieron el dinero para hacerlo.
We had some movement on one wall of this mission recently.
Recientemente se les movió, tuvieron un movimiento en uno de los muros de esta misión.
And when we finished the project, we provided the community, the parish community, a maintenance plan.
Y bueno, cuando terminaron el proyecto les dejaron a la comunidad un programa de mantenimiento.
And during that process, they changed priests, and the people who weren't involved with the original restoration plan became involved with the parish.
Okay. Y en ese interín tuvieron un cambio justamente del padre y digamos, la comunidad tuvo una nueva participación con el párroco.
So with some of the Viga work that had been done 25 years before, they also had a wall that had slumped and they had partially rebuilt it.
Entonces, con el trabajo que habían hecho de las vigas hace 25 años, parte de uno de los muros se había, digamos, aplastado, deformado.
And they had rebuilt it, and they had this old problem with this particular wall.
Y bueno, lo habían reconstruido, pero tenían problemas con este muro en particular.
So as Jim had mentioned in his earlier presentation, with the wall settling, the plaster buckled. So we knew that there was some partial wall movement on 5-foot thick wall on a short section that they had, a narrower section that they had rebuilt.
Entonces, bueno, con este movimiento, digamos, de aplastamiento, se había botado de alguna manera, se había hecho evidente esto en el muro. Y bueno, el muro siendo de casi 1.5 metros de ancho, sabían que había allí un problema de hundimiento.
So we had a meeting. This is what Cornerstones does, is works with communities, and sometimes the community dynamics change within the community as far as people.
Bueno, y eso es un poco lo que hace la organización de Cornerstones, pero las dinámicas a veces de las comunidades cambian.
And ¿recuerdas Turi Morales, Antonio? He was the original chairman, a really great guy, and all he could do was, I can't work with these priests.
¿No? Y había, bueno, una persona involucrada y que, bueno, decía que no podía trabajar con este padre.
So what happened was we had an arrangement to be able to bring in some maestro albañiles to repair the damage, because it's a maintenance issue, very slight movement. And the priests didn't want to do that. They wanted to treat the whole project very differently than how the collaboration happened before. So all Turi could say was, we're gonna wait for the priests to leave.
Bueno, y entonces de plano con esta resistencia del padre a no permitir que se hiciera esta intervención de los maestros para reparar esto en las condiciones anteriores, de plano van a esperar a que se vaya el padre.
And as some of us know Gerardo Calderon from Mexico City, DF, he is a really very talented conservator, and he ran a pigment workshop with us, for us, involving young art students.
Y entonces, bueno, de la Ciudad de México, Jorge Calderón hizo, bueno, un especialista en cuestiones de pigmentación y decoración, hizo un taller con ellos.
And you can see some of the original 1691 designs.
Y aquí se ven uno de los diseños originales de 1691.
And he did a cleaning and a treatment program, cleaning and a treatment program, part of the workshop, to help people understand the process.
Entonces hizo un procesos de limpieza y de tratamiento para que la comunidad entendiera cómo se daba
They also have, this is another kind of a heartbreaking part. They also have this great religious art collection, and the priests didn't want the collection to come back into the mission. So there's a lot of struggles.
También tenían allí una colección importante de arte religioso, pero el padre no quería que esas piezas regresaran a la misión.
So, thank you.
Gracias. I have a question. this
We're gonna have to get someone to translate.
this dry mud is made in order for, or what do you do to avoid the contraction or problems that usually when you do these sections in monuments, you have to be careful with not having any settlements,
Right.
¿no? Preguntaba un poco, me preocupaba este aspecto de a la hora de quitar secciones y poner secciones de cómo le hacían para evitar cualquier asentamiento, que normalmente estos procesos tienen ese problema.
What we found in the past that had been used was that they would lay the adobes, and then they would put wet mud in, and the wet mud would shrink, and they wouldn't transfer the weight, so it didn't work. And then another technique they used was they would put the adobes in, and they would put stones in, and with wet mud. But what we found was, as the wall settled, because the wet mud shrank, it would hit the stones, and the stones would break. Excuse me, it would hit the stones, and the adobes would break.
Entonces, bueno, lo que un poco descubrieron que en el pasado usaban efectivamente lodo, digamos, húmedo. El problema del lodo húmedo es que efectivamente se contrae y entonces lo que hacían a veces es que ponían cuñas de piedra, pero esas cuñas de piedra de todos modos se contraía el lodo y alcanzaba a romper los adobes.
So what we found and what we worked on was we do a section, we let it dry, we have the wood cuñas in.
Entonces lo que hacen es que hacen una sección, reparan una sección y lo dejan secar bien, pero con las cuñas.
And then when it's dried, then we take what we call lodo seco, which is probably maybe 5% moisture. It's almost like pisé, the dirt, and then we pack it in. I mean, we pack it in. We would wet it a little bit, and then we pack it in, and that dry mud wouldn't shrink.
Okay, entonces lo que hacen es que retacan la junta con un lodo con 5% de humedad y bueno, lo retacan bien y han descubierto que eso no se contrae. Un poco con la técnica del tapial, ¿no? De compactación, ¿no?
Con un cacho de madera.
De madera, ajá.
And then we would take out one wedge, and then we'd fill that space, pack it. We'd take out another wedge, fill that space, pack it.
Y entonces sacaban una cuña y la rellenaban y luego la otra.
And so we essentially transfer the weight from the old to the new, where we have the section tied into the wall, and we've successfully transferred that weight through the lodo seco.
Ok, entonces bueno, poco a poco van transfiriendo ya la carga total a esta cuestión del lodo seco. Have you made a documentation of let's say, monitoring this process, that it hasn't shrunk or it hasn't had any?
Well, we've done documentation in the sense that through photos. You know what happens is by that time, within a couple of days, everything is dry. And then with this particular project, we would work all the way around, and then we had another crew come back and start the lime plaster, and then we would just take photos. But we don't have any.
Let's post occupancy assessment.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll let you
I'm just interested in if you're back 3 years later and the walls have.
We haven't had that. We haven't had that problem.
No problem. That's
Actually,
interesting.
Actually, I did this when I was contracting. I did this 25 years ago, and we did this one section. My brother Mike had told me, you know, try it this way with the adobes and see if that works. So we did it that way, and it was so successful that we modified it and we used it on these other projects.
Okay.
And that project that we first did it on has
had no problems.
Has the same existing conditions now that we had 25 years ago.
Bueno, yo le preguntaba si había habido algún tipo de seguimiento. Me dice que no específicamente esto, pero que es una técnica que ya viene utilizada hace 25 años y que en ese edificio no han tenido ya mayores problemas, lo cual.
You know, and one thing just to follow Jim's lead with the materials is this mission with all the concrete and all the cement, it had moisture always this high, always this high, always.
Siempre con el problema del concreto y eso tenía una humedad constante de esta altura aproximadamente.
And when we took off the concrete colors, that section would dry very fast. And when we finished the whole project, where we had adobes, we have a good grade, we had lime plaster, it would rain, it would get wet, in a couple of days it would be dry. So the whole idea was to return the building to its natural wet-dry cycle, getting the water away and getting the walls to breathe.
Y bueno, simplemente comentaba que justamente al retirar toda la parte del concreto, el muro se secaba, digamos, o regresó a su ciclo natural de cuando llovía se humedecía, pero se secaba muy pronto, no mantenía la humedad dentro.
Lo que me parece que es muy notable es que no tenía fundación la iglesia, ¿no?
Eh,
No hay cimiento.
No, el cimiento, que no tenía cimiento. O sea, it's on soil, as Pat was,
Yeah, it actually,
saying.
2 courses below, 2 hileras abajo,
Ajá.
no más, sin cimiento,
Sin cimiento.
sin cimiento.
Con respecto a eso, era mi pregunta. Ya que cambiaron el concreto y pusieron los adobes, ¿a ese adobe se le dio algún tipo de protección o se dejó tal cual?
Igual como el pared original, pero el base de pared aplanamos con cal.
Entonces, ¿el cimiento también
Sí.
le pusiste escala hasta el inicio?
Sí, sí,
Yeah.
de base.
Okay.
Okay. He was asking if there was any treatment to the adobe that was replaced, and he says basically the same adobe, and only with the lime plaster aplanados.
And the reason for that was, as you know, my experience is in the field. It's not in the education part, but from what I've learned from all our colleagues is you don't want to introduce something different than the original. So the original didn't have a foundation, and it was lime plaster to the base. So we tried to replicate that.
Entonces, bueno, un poco en su experiencia, la idea es tratar de mantener el sistema original, entonces no se le puso un cimiento nuevo y se dejó básicamente el adobe sobre como desplante,
Sí, pero ese adobe está protegido por
por el
cal.
aplanado.
Ok.
O sea, no tiene ningún tratamiento especial. ¿no?
Ese es el tratamiento especial.
Y,
Ese
y
es
tenemos un buen
Recuperar el
caída
sistema original.
de alrededor.
How did you break the concrete column?
We broke it in sections using a chemical composition called bentonite, and it's a mixture. I'm sure you're familiar with of bentonite and quicklime. And what we do, you have to start in a section, and you have to drill in and mix this material, put it in, and it slowly expands and breaks it without damaging the wall. But you have to clean a spot above the concrete and below it, and you have to give it a place to expand, because if it expands, it will crush whatever, it will break whatever it's expanding to. So if you don't provide a space, it will damage the. It's the same thing. It's just a different brand name.
Okay. Preguntaba que cómo le hicieron para demoler el concreto sin dañar o pasar vibraciones, y dice que básicamente lo que hacen es que introducen una mezcla de bentonita
De arcilla.
y arcilla. Básicamente lo que hacen es que expanden, hacen taladros, expande el concreto, lo truena, pero hay que darle espacio tanto arriba como abajo para que pueda expandir y no dañe el muro. Pero entonces nada de...
De barro.
Ok, bien.
Mínimo
O mínimo.
vibraciones
Ok.
del taladro cuando ponemos
Ajá.
los agujeros.
And you cut the steel rods.
It
didn't have steel.
It
Okay,
was
was-
stone and cement.
Okay,
From
concreto
19
simple.
Yeah,
Okay,
from 1900s, 1910.
okay.
Ahí hay otro que-
Algo que no se ve en las
Perdón,
imágenes.
sorry.
Cuando estuvieron retacando las juntas de los adobes, yo no percibo si también lo hacen por dentro del edificio. When you were stacking the joints of the adobe, were you doing the same procedure in the inner part of the building? I mean, from the inner part.
Cuando estábamos en el lodo seco,
Sí, cuando están atacando las juntas, lo hicieron solamente desde un lado, del lado exterior del edificio, o lo hicieron desde los dos lados.
were you doing this dry mud from both sides or only from the outside?
The wall was 5 foot thick,
Uh-huh.
and the adobes ranged from 16 inches to 20 inches, depending. So we were able to put the lodo seco, force it in from one side until it hit the back of the adobe on the side. The damage on the interior of the wall was very minimum, because once we took out the concrete color, everything started to dry.
Okay.
So you left the plaster inside the building?
No,
Los Was it remain or
Excuse me?
was removed?
I want to understand, quiero entender, okay, in Spanish first, que the color was a lot, was not as thick as the wall, so you left the original wall on the inside,
Yeah.
and you only worked from the outside.
Right.
Digamos que era más angosta, había comentado que tenía 2
Como
pies
2
contra
pies.
5 pies,
Sí.
entonces digamos trabajaron solo de un lado y entonces el daño a la hora de comprimir no fue demasiado porque quedaban 3 pies
Yeah,
más o
varios
menos.
Entonces no sustituyeron todo.
No sustituyeron, you didn't substitute the whole section, only the part that had the
Right,
concrete.
Right. Because the adobe was good right behind the concrete.
Mhm.
Yes, ma'am?
Two questions. We have a lot of volunteers who want to make Adobes,
Uh-huh.
but we have a compression testing requirement in with the uniform review code. How do you guys work around that, or
What kind of testing are you trying to achieve? Or what kind of compression are you trying to achieve?
I don't recall what's in the archaic building code for compression testing, but I mean, it would be a lot of money in field compression testing with a formal company coming in. And we couldn't, if we have volunteers doing batches of Adobes every Saturday, that means then you're doing compression testing on every batch.
Le preocupa mucho la cuestión de que ellos tienen muchos voluntarios, pero por otro lado hay una norma que requiere de una cierta resistencia a la compresión de los adobes. Entonces, ¿cómo manejan esta cuestión de, o los recursos que se requeriría para hacer estas pruebas de compresión? ¿Cómo le hacen un poco?
Well, I don't know and you all jump in to help. I don't know the compression that they're looking for, but if I would make a really good sample adobe and I would have them test it, and then I would repeat that process every weekend when they're making adobes. And if someone wants to test every weekend, tell them they're nuts.
Comentaba que en todo caso la recomendación sería que hicieran digamos, hacer adobe bien hecho, con un buen proceso, probar una primera muestra y tratar de mantener ese proceso de calidad en todos los adobes, porque hacerlo cada semana está de locos, ¿no?
One more question.
Second question.
Sorry.
A lot of our Adobes are on a bit of a rubble foundation. We have in some cases overturning happening on the wall or a settlement occurring. And so the typical solution is to come in with a concrete foundation below. Now, we're not trapping moisture because we don't have concrete sidewalk or interior flooring in concrete. But is that concrete below the rubble going to cause any problems with moisture in the walls?
More than likely, because it's going to drive the moisture out. There's a couple of good earth and architecture engineers who, if you don't, if I can relay the names to you to be able to help with some of those designs. And a lot of times in groups like these, you know, we're all thinking the same thing. But just like engineers, there's some engineers who like steel and concrete, and there's some engineers who understand it a little bit. So I would, you know, suggest trying to find an engineer who's going to approach the building from that perspective.
That's fight get around our code problems, doesn't it? I mean, it's still required.
But
Even if they
you got to insert a damp-proof course in there because the moisture will go right through the concrete into the adobe. So you have to put a damp-proof course in there somewhere.
Well, the other thing too
Does that
is
create a slip plane? I mean, we're in
It
earthquake
could,
country.
it could. So it's how you detail it.
the other thing too in the UBC code. There's a section called alternate method, and
Right.
if you can get the right engineer to stamp something,
But that alternate method is where we get the compression testing requirement out of.
then you need to change engineers or something. I don't know.